to this Mitch McConnell Republican point that John Heilman's making, Michael Steele, I believe Mitch McConnell was asked today if he were to be the majority leader again, what would he be for? And he said, good question. I got to get back to you on that. The last time the RNC had a platform, it was to put both arms and both legs, sorry for the visual, around Donald J. Trump. The Republican Party right now doesn't stand for anything. And I thought President Biden's most effective reframing, and this White House has described today as a reframing of his public posture about his agenda and its progress. Some of the most effective time was spent describing what this Republican Party is.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, there's no surprise, I mean, about what Republicans aren't going to do or what they stand for. That's been very clear for 5 years now. You know, we cut taxes. Oh, repeal and replace, infrastructure week. So there's no surprise there. The question becomes, I think, more narratively, how the president goes out and convinces the country of that, right? And convinces the country of that in the context of what they actually know and see happening around them. The decision by the Supreme Court is going to be, it's a big deal. To John's point, it's a big deal because now you're going to have stuff coming out of the Trump administration for the public to see that shows the three things that John pointed out about a party and its leadership that don't have a strategy, they're intransigent, and quite frankly, they're so far up Trump's behind, they have no clue where they are. All right. So that's going to be narratively an opportunity for this administration and specifically Joe Biden. So, yeah, it's good to hear him say, I want to go out and be with the public and talk to the public. I thought the questioning, right, the very first question out of the box spoke to this underlying problem of the narrative of this administration, that they have failed, that the country is a mess. I mean, I listened to you and Rachel. Rachel's ticking all this stuff about GDP and the economy and boom, boom. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, nobody knows that, or at least they don't feel it.
Well, and the
so
president didn't say
it.
I mean, that was Michael, that was my question to Rachel. I mean, I watch her program, and I frankly have heard more than good news about things. And look, this is not all the White House's fault. It is difficult to cut through the noise. I'm not blaming them, but to what you're saying, because I hear the but, and so I want to pull it out of you. But it feels like what you're saying is this president did not, where he may have made some progress in putting the spotlight on the Republicans for their sins, he did not adequately reframe the question of inflation in a broader economic picture that's going to get people off of their inflation angst and rage.
No, he didn't. And I think that's something that's maybe that comes with the in-person, on the street, in the neighborhood kind of context. But in this presser, I thought, okay, first off, bro, you should have ended this an hour ago, because the reality of it is it wasn't the length. It was where it was going and what it was doing, dragging down again at the end. You ended as you started, about the failure of this administration. When the reporter gets up and talks about, people look at you and they think you're doddering, you're teetering, you're mentally incompetent. And I'm sitting there going, okay, if I'm the press staff, I'm going, okay, we clearly have set the president into a bad room, into a bad position. So in some respects, the politics of positioning the president inside this White House is out of sync with the politics of what's going on out in the country. And I just think from a political standpoint, to create the momentum with his base, to create the momentum with the members of his party in the House and the Senate, he's got to fix that alignment, in my view. And there were aspects of this that were good, but then when you say minor incursion into Ukraine is okay, here we go again. And that's where things get a little bit squirrely.